Hello everyone, it's Danny here, Life of a London Cabbie. I know it's been a while, isn't it? And I'll be taking you on a walk along a street called the Mile End Road. Other people may call it the A11 because it leads to an area called Colchester, which I'll explain a little bit more about Colchester as we walk along. But we're just coming to the end of Whitechapel Road, and Whitechapel Road has always been known for its bustling markets and through fairs that go to all different directions. But we're going to take a walk along the end of Whitechapel Road, and then we're going to enter into Mile End Road. I'm just going to show you some of the markets as we walk through. It's always busy here when I am driving through here in my London taxi, and I think you'll really like it. Hello my friend, how are you?
Yes, YouTube.
That's it, mate. Life of a London Cabbie. Yeah, cool. So this place here, Mancross and Pauline's Albion, this used to be one of London's greatest breweries, and dates back from the early 1800s, and not really too sure what it is now, to be honest with you, but it looks like some sort of offices. Yeah, gorgeous building. See if I can zoom in here. There you go. Okay, so we're just coming up to a famous pub in the East End, the Blind Beggar. And this is a pub notorious for the Kray twins, the famous gangsters, or infamous gangsters. This is where Ronnie Kray was said to have shot George Cornell in 1966. He then later on helped his brother Reggie kill Jack the Hat McVitie in 1969, and this led to the demise of the Kray twins, and they were arrested for that crime and sent down from then on. This, as I say, this pub is not short of the history of violence. In 2011, a group of Asian men attacked the pub, believing that the English Defence League were drinking in there. And they're usually very welcoming in there, so if you do stop by here, definitely have a look. They also run tours, I believe, I think it's a Sunday, and do really good Kray twin tours, because literally on this road coming up, or very close to this road, about a couple minutes away from here, there's a place called Valence Road, and that's where the Kray twins actually lived. And we're going to cross the road, and we're going to head in the direction of the Mile End Road. So we just entered into the Mile End Road. Now, the reason why this road is called the Mile End Road is because it's exactly 1 mile from the eastern gate of where the Roman wall would have been, which was called Aldgate. And that's why it's called Mile End Road. But back in the day, this road actually used to be called the Great Essex Road. The reason for that was because the Mile End Road, also known as the A11, leads straight to Colchester. Now, Colchester was, in the Roman times, when the Romans invaded, was the capital city of England. And later on, and it was the capital city of England for about 18 years. And then after the attack of Queen Boudicca, London then shortly afterwards became the more used city, and London became the natural capital city of England from then on. But just going to take a look to our left. So we're just coming up to these almshouses here. I think they're called the Trinity almshouses, and they were designed by Sir Christopher Wren, and they were also funded by Captain Mudd of Ratcliffe. And these were developed for the shipmasters of this area, because what we've got to remember is this is a shipping town. About 10 minutes away from here you had the London docks, and so these were homes provided to the shipmasters of this area. And I don't know if you can see that, guys. I zoomed in as much as I can. Pretty cool. And lucky enough for us, the door's open as well, so we can have a quick look inside. There you go. Pretty cool, eh? Love that. Quite interestingly, next door to the almshouses that we just went past, you've got Tower Hamlets Mission. Now, this was actually founded by a guy called Frederick Charrington. Funny enough, he was the guy that founded Charrington Brewery. And this is known as Tower Hamlets Mission, and it's to help a lot of the homeless, especially with drug addictions and drink addictions here. And quite ironically, the guy that founded this and funded this was the same guy that founded Charrington's Brewery. So effectively it was his drink that actually sent them here. It's quite incredible. And then as we take a right turn here, we've got William Booth. And he was the guy that, as you can see, he founded the Salvation Army. And he was, the Salvation Army still is in operation in 125 countries. And there's a nice statue of him here. And this statue is apparently him preaching as a pawnbroker, and one of his favourite spots was the Blind Beggar pub. There you go. I mean, guys, there's so much history here. So here you got the bust of King Edward VII, and he was the eldest son of Queen Victoria. And apparently this is erected by some of the Freemasons in the area of East London. There you go. So as I say, we're on the Mile End Road, and as we walk along the Mile End Road, known as the A11, this is the main route to Colchester. And as I said earlier, Colchester was known as the capital city of England during the Roman period for around 18 years, and this was a main route to it. Now, around this area you have places like Whitechapel, Stepney, and also Bow. Now, back in the day, these used to be like individual hamlets, and as with the introduction of railway lines, these brought all these small individual hamlets together. And it's really what makes up the East End. And we will continue on. Now, this is just behind us here, if you can see that, it's known as Genesis Cinema. And it was quite an interesting cinema. In 1963 was where the film premiere, Sparrows Can't Sing. And it featured Barbara Windsor, very well-renowned actor. And also the Cray twins performed inside on that film. Now, as it was the film premiere and the Crays being from this area, there was many celebrities that turned out. Even Lord Snowdon, along with Princess Margaret, was said to have were going to attend, and at the very last minute they actually dropped out. Now, the Crays, or apparently there were so many people lining the streets waiting for them to come through the Mile End Road. Apparently the Crays had literally turned these people out their houses. As you can imagine what they probably said to him, get out or unless. But this is where the film period took place, and as you can imagine, it was a great success, especially in the area anyway. But Genesis Cinema is still in operation. Look at these wonderful houses on the left here. Not really too sure how old these are. Look quite similar to the Huguenot architecture in the Spitalsfield area, which are from the 1700s. As we go along here, guys, this is on the left hand side the Anchor Brewery, or the Anchor Retail part I should say. And behind this was where the Anchor Brewery was, which was founded and owned by the Charrington family, who we've spoken about a lot so far on this tour. So down there is Stepney Green. There's definitely going to be another walk that I'm going to do. Very fascinating area, and quite wealthy in some parts, you know. I may have mentioned a few times before that the East End of London has always been I would say, probably the poorer side of London, in terms of the more working class people who live in this area. But in Stepney, you really have some really lovely houses, and some very well-to-do people used to live there. And it's got a wonderful farm around that area called Stepping Stone Farm, and also a fantastic church called St Dunstan's in the East. No, I definitely recommend. We will probably do a walk along that very area. So here we have Charrington House, and it's just around the corner to where the Anchor Brewery was. And this building actually dates back from 1738. And John Charrington purchased an interest in the business and then took over this completely. And in the 19th century, this is the second largest brewery in London. And during its heyday, the Charrington family took over another 40 breweries in London, many of them in the East End. Hayfield Yard. So the great thing about Whitechapel and Mile End Road, you've got a lot of like alleyways that go off to all different directions. And this is definitely another video that I'm going to do, is the alleyways of the East End. Alright guys, so in front of us here we have the Mall Plaquest, which was in 1741 owned by Henry Charrington, and of course part of the Charrington family. Absolutely wonderful. Now earlier on in this video I was speaking about the thoroughfares and alleyways that riddle all the way through the East End of London, and this is one here which I can't refuse to go through, so I'm going to take you through here now. It's called Mile End Place, and it has a lot of like 19th century housing, quite similar to the area of Stepney, which hopefully we'll do another video on very soon. But yeah, come join me guys. Yeah, it's like you've got the busy streets behind us, and it's just it's absolute silence around here. It's amazing. Yeah, quite incredible. It's like you're in a totally different place. And the reason I'm taking it all the way down the end of this street is because there's said to be a cemetery to the Ashkenazi Jewish community that came here in droves really in the 1800s. They were facing persecution from Russia, And a lot of the Eastern European Jews came to areas like the East London. And I don't know if you can see it from here, to be honest. But just beyond this wall is where for some reason I thought we could get past it, but obviously not. But we'll continue on, guys. So this building here, guys, is the Albert Stern House. And this was named, as you can imagine, after Albert Stern, who was the guy that came up with the idea of the first tank the first British tank in World War One. This building was also a home to many of the elderly Jewish men and women, and they were looked after here. So there's a few of the signs here as well. You can see that. There you go. So guys, I must stress how poor these communities were. In some parts they still are, but in the actual distance, see if we can get past here, you can see the skyrise buildings of the City of London, which is known as one of the wealthiest square miles on earth. And effectively in the 1800s, when life was so bad in the East End of London, just looking over on top of it was the City of London, which was effectively the boiler house that powered the empire at that time. And yeah, quite incredible. As I say, it's still known as one of the richest square miles on earth. It has the Stock Exchange, the Bank of England, and much more. And then you've got Queen Mary University, or Queen Mary's College. And originally this building was a school, a hospital, and also an almshouse, and for charitable housing. And this was then sold off and then rebuilt as the People's Palace. And it was opened by Queen Victoria in 1887. And it was a philanthropic place where people could come to use it as what we know today as a gym, a gymnasium, swimming. It also had like libraries, places where you could study in the building, and also entertainment for people as well. And it was actually known as the Albert Hall, the Royal Albert Hall of the East End. So it's a large complex, as you can see. And then as we come along the same complex, this part of it, which was a lot larger back in 1887, hope you can hear me guys with all these buses, but this was known as the Great Hall. And you can see the depictions here, if we just zoom in. 1 second. And yeah, as you can see the Art Deco there, it actually are like reliefs or sculptures like representing drama, music, dance, brotherhood, and also sport. See the old box in there, see? Very interesting. And in front of us here we have the Tower Hamlets local library and local history and archives. And as I say, I've been there a few times before, and some of the history in those books and documents they have in that building is quite fascinating. They do allow you to look at them, and highly recommend you go and visit, just off Bancroft Road. So we've kind of gone off the beaten track here, and we're just taking a left off of Bancroft Road now. Just to the left of us, you've got the Mile End Road, but we're on a road called Alderney Road, and the The reason why I'm bringing you down here is because back in 1888, during the height of the Ripper murders, number 1 to 3 Alderney Road was the home to a certain Mr. George Lusk, and he was head of the Mile End Vigilance Committee. And the Vigilance Committee back then in 1888 weren't vigilantes, but they were vigilance committees. So they looked out for domestic abuse in the area, because domestic abuse was rife back in the 1800s. And it was to stamp that out, and also, of course, to catch Jack the Ripper. And I'll just show you his home right now. Yeah, it was 1 to 3 Alderney Road, and you can kind of see how it's kind of joined into two on Tillett Street. And I have to be very careful how I pronounce that I don't get it wrong. But yeah, you see how like that building is a bit larger than everything else down this street. But that's where George Lusk lived, and this is where he actually received the package, the From Hell letter, which gave way to the film From Hell, starring Johnny Depp. Over the other side of the road you can see what is known as the Ocean Estate, and this is typical post-war housing after the Second World War, because obviously the East End, large parts of it were flattened. This is so it could accommodate the people in the East End. It's a rather large estate. Here we have is the clock tower. Also, it was a drinking fountain as well, and this was built in 1890. And of course, guys, if you go through the East End, you're going to come across the Regent's Canal. And this was built in the 1820s, and so it could connect the London docks to the centre of London. This leads all the way to Paddington, just by Paddington Station. We've got an area called Little Venice, which is an area I definitely recommend you go and see. That's one of the locks there of the canal. So you can zoom in there you go. So we continue on. And where we're actually going to be heading to now is on top of that bridge. Now, this bridge, I've not actually been up myself. You can actually get to the top of it, and it gives you apparently a great view of the city, and also the area known as Canary Wharf, which is our other financial district actually. And we're going to take some steps to the right hand side and have a look. Well guys, it looks like we're going up here. It's like the only stairway to the bridge, the top of the bridge. So once we get up here, we'll be able to see this together for the first time, which is pretty cool. As you can see, I'm feeling quite hot today. Probably one of the hottest days of the year, so I hope you appreciate the effort, guys. Let's turn this camera around. Right guys, so we're at probably the top bit of the bridge, the highest point anyway. You can see in the distance the Canary Wharf there. That's where the London docks would have been. And so not too far away at all. And then I've just seen a nice little opening, if I just zoom back out, here to the left hand side. And let's have a look. There we go, get a good viewpoint from up here. And here we are. There you go guys. The A11, that's heading towards the city. see the Shard in the distance there. And I'm going to go the other side so we get to see the way that went to Colchester. There we go, there's a bit more of a clearing here. Oh, this is pretty cool. There you go. Now, what you can see on the left there is a street called Grove Road. Now, just by, you can see the station on the right hand side and then Grove Road on the left hand side. Now, this is where the first V1 flying bomb struck London. And I must stress that during the Second World War, we had something called the Blitz, which was 8 months of bombing, which resulted in 43,000 lives lost. And the east end of London was more heavily hit than the west of London, solely because, or mainly because, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons was the London docks, which, as I've already shown you, isn't too far away. And London docks had many goods, ammunition, and everything that could supply, you know, the war. And so that was the main target. And also the east end of London was as well, because the fighter planes used the River Thames to come in, and it was a lot easier to drop your bombs and then fly back out again. But this caused a lot of divide and a lot of anger by the communities of the East End, because they felt that people in the West, which were more upper class in terms of their wealth, were largely remaining untouched. If you go through the West End of London, where like places like Kensington is, a lot of the original buildings are still there. And but there was one day that Buckingham Palace was hit. And when it got hit, the very next day, the Queen Mother actually quoted in saying, "I'm glad Buckingham Palace has got hit, because I can now look the East End in the face." And I think everyone knew what she meant by that. But there you go, guys. That's the route known as used to be known as the Great Essex Road, and that leads all the way to Colchester. If you don't mind, guys, if you've seen this on your travels, you can let us know what this is. And also that sign there. Not really too sure what it is, to be honest. I may put it in the text below as part of the video. And then we have another pub in the East End. As you can see, pubs are very prominent in the East End, and it caused a lot of distractions to people. That's why a lot of people in the 1800s were alcoholics. It was the #1 drug of all back in the 1800s, alcohol. This is the part of the Truman's Brewery, and very big brewery. Right, guys, so I hope you've enjoyed today's video as much as I have, and I'll see you next time. And I just thought I'd leave you with this. It's a beautiful picture or painting against this wall on a road called Abervon Road. And if you look here, it's all the different places of the East End of London. I think you'll like it. As I say, guys, I hope you've enjoyed it, and it's been a pleasure having you with me. See you next time.